Move to open the 2016 October 18th meeting, and as it is the business meeting, we stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, public be heard. Randy, I think you're the only. Oh no, Sam.
Randy.
All right, well, this is going to be real quick tonight, I think. We need 2 minutes. I'm having Felicia pass out envelopes. Bill, you and I spoke at the last meeting about a proposal or an outline
Excellent.
for emergency broadcasting. It's very simple, actually. I didn't want to put too much detail in it because I didn't want to be micromanaging it. We're only here to put the communications out and coordinate everything, and the rest is up to you and the other appropriate officials to get word out to the public in the case of an emergency or disaster. But we're here ready and willing to serve that function with a proven, reliable technical system that we can stay on the air in probably all but the most disastrous conditions.
Excellent.
So you can get back to me with any comments. Anybody that has any comments on it is certainly welcome to call. The telephone number is top of the page.
I will take a look at it later on and get it to Jeremy.
Okay.
Thank you.
And did I see your sponsors, Randy, for the film festival? I think did I see 104 video or not?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I thought I
And
saw
somebody might have done it, but we didn't have anything to do with it.
Oh, okay.
People do that.
Sam Magarella?
I support this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We come in together.
Okay.
No, we're here on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, and
Welcome again.
thank you, represent the business community. And we wanted to extend our appreciation and thank you for, we had some good conversations last time, and we appreciate the fact that the signage on the state roads is really great now.
Good.
It's clear.
Good.
And we neglected to mention, thanks for the new trash bins in town, they're beautiful. And also the good work that you're working on exploring, doing something about the bathrooms.
We are with Kathy and I met on that.
We had a big tour of the bathrooms with each other.
You went into Ben's room?
I cleared the men's room, and then she cleared the women's room. Yes, we both got a tour.
It wasn't exactly a great experience.
Think how we feel.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah. The women's room wasn't that much better.
I'm sure it wasn't.
Yeah, but yeah, we talked about a bunch of different things we could possibly do to improve it, you know.
And it's that time of the year, you're all deliberating and dealing with some pretty strong issues, big issues. But we want to let you know that we appreciate the fact that, a good community takes care of all the elements of the community, the arts, the taxpayers, the businesses, and so on, the children. And we respect all the good work you've done, and we really appreciate the fact that you're giving a good look at improving this situation.
Right. And when the four of us met in private, that we had talked about the 212 renovation, which is somewhere off there on the horizon. And we should just all remember to, I'll work as information comes through, but we should all be part of a dialogue because that's going to be tough. I mean, we can't kid ourselves.
Yeah,
But I think with a little planning and input, we might be able to at least reduce some of the discomfort.
I think the biggest piece is, as we already discussed, was, the business are going to feel the impact along with everybody else as the roads get narrowed to one lanes,
Right.
and detours and so on.
And the lack of parking.
And lack of parking and all that impact.
Yeah.
And so the greater the distance of warning about this, and as last time, there was some fumbling on the state's part about signage and locations and things like that. So if you give us an opportunity, you can at least weigh in with what we think, and of course, you guys make the
Absolutely.
decisions.
Yeah. And as the plan starts to gel, I'm sure we'll have some public outreach and discussion about it in this room, so.
We're also getting ready to go out with some publicity on the open house, and shaping up very nicely, and some other things. Are we okay now to publicize the bathrooms or the restrooms opening until the 31st of December?
We're still working on that. Give us another couple of, another
Okay,
week or
good, so we'll
so.
hold off on that.
But would they be open for at least the 3rd of December, which was the open
I
house?
think, yes.
I think they
yeah.
always kept them
Yeah,
open
we've
for
always
that,
kept
didn't
them
they?
open.
Yeah.
Just to,
I mean, they won't be really heated or anything.
well, at least being
There
open.
is a little electric.
In and out.
We should take this opportunity to say something that's not actually town government related, but this is the first year after 34 years that the chamber is going to do the open house on Saturday instead of Friday.
Friday.
Oh, wow. Oh, that'd be good.
We've been.
So it'll be all day Saturday rather than Friday evening?
Most of the day, yes. It'll start around 3 o'clock.
Nice.
At the golf course?
No, in town.
In
It's
town.
the open
I
house.
didn't know how to say.
Every year, the business community has an open house,
Yeah.
and they have all the stores stay open later. And there's music and so on. We have another Santa who arrives and sits on a chamber booth. We had a bonfire last year. We're doing 2 this year, one on the other end of town. They were very popular.
Mhm.
The chamber gives out free s'mores, and we pass out free hand warmers, depending on what people need.
I was only aware, I was
Sunscreen.
only aware of the golf course,
Oh, the event.
yeah.
Oh,
And
this is...
so I didn't know about this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds
And-
good.
And by the
Well,
way,
this-
when he says another Santa comes, I'm Santa.
I must say, my
Don't say that in front of my,
Oh, of course not.
careful,
Listen.
careful. Can we strike that?
I had fun last year.
My grandson thought you were great. Remember, I think he wouldn't come up at first and then he went
Yeah.
up. Yeah, it was fun.
I've done it before.
Santa knows all.
Yes,
Now,
that's the illusion at least.
Paul's done this before, so he actually
I have a real suit.
he rents or gets a first-class Santa's. In fact, he sat up there, and once people realized what he was doing, there was a little thin line of people up there. It was great. It was a good night. So it's on Saturday this year.
Yeah,
What day again?
Saturday.
I think it's December 3rd.
Third.
Somebody
It takes us away from the Friday competition with the other towns.
Uh-huh.
And we get the people who are, the weekend.
Who may be coming up on a Friday night.
It's been a missed opportunity, so we have high hopes for this.
Right, and then also you'll have some daylight for people that might want to come out with children, young children.
That's why we
That'll
changed-
give you daylight,
exactly.
and then you'll have the nighttime for,
Exactly.
old
Yeah.
folks.
Back
Right,
to we were talking about the bathrooms for a minute and those upgrades. We've also looked at that one little planting area,
Oh, yeah,
some
yeah.
trees.
Oh,
yeah.
The shrubs.
We have some thoughts on how to spruce that up a little bit.
Well, we were thinking, Randy was thinking that maybe they could be taken out because, well,
We were gonna clean up. We looked at it, some trees look pretty good, so we thought we might keep one little tree here and
Oh,
then
okay.
clean it up and it'll look nice.
yeah, if it looks better, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
But I think there's nightshade in there, which is supposed to be poisonous, at least that's what somebody had said to us.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Didn't quite look like it.
Well, we'll leave it to your discretion about it, and we appreciate the attention.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have any announcements?
I do.
Okay.
I just want to, as most people are aware, there is an election coming up November 8th. To get to know candidates, in case you weren't aware, this coming Monday, October 24th, for our 103rd congressional, wrong kind, 19th congressional district in New York State, there will be a John Faso, Zephyr Teachout debate here in Woodstock in the Woodstock Playhouse. If you want, seating is free. You can go into the woodstockplayhouse.org website and reserve tickets for free seating. I'm hearing two different stories about whether you're just going to see a tape on a big screen of their debate that happened someplace else, or whether they're there in person, but their campaign said the candidates will be there in person. So again, a way to hear and see both candidates for our congressional seat would be to go to the Woodstock Playhouse. Again, this coming Monday, October 24th, 7 o'clock, but get advance tickets by going to woodstockplayhouse.org. Both candidates will also be in Kingston on Thursday, October 27th. They'll be at Congregation Emmanuel on Albany Avenue, once again starting at 7. No confusion there, they're definitely both live there, but you would need to go to Kingston for that. Other thing that you might want to know, same week, it's a big week, that last week of October. Our current assemblyman, Kevin Cahill, assemblyman for the 103rd District, will be holding an open house, a town hall. Kevin Cahill will be holding a town hall where he'll be talking about the state of the 103rd Assembly District and take questions. It's a Q&A for anybody in the audience that wants to be asking questions of Kevin Cahill. He's been our assemblyman for many, many years. I think does a fabulous job, but anyway, but he will be seeing the public coming to Woodstock. It's wonderful when all these people who are in high places are coming to Woodstock, and I think that's great. So Kevin Cahill on the 26th, Wednesday, October 26th, doors open at 7, Meskel-Hornbeck Community Center. If you want to hear how we're doing in the 103rd Assembly District and hearing about the state of New York. And back to Zephyr T. Chapman and John Faso, we know one of them will be our House of Representatives person, and this would be an opportunity to meet. We don't know yet which one it's going to be, but it'll be your opportunity to meet who will be representing us in the U.S. House of Representatives. So
Thank you, Laura.
lots going on.
Yes. Anyone else? A little too early, this is for our public hearing. So there are a couple of topics, and there's one that's actually not listed, and we'll only take a couple of minutes. Reed bed update. On Friday, I went down with the town engineer and another associate, Scott Davis. I don't know if you remember him. He was the gentleman that was actually the reed specialist. And so he flew up from Florida. We had a meeting with the DEC. They don't have a finalized draft on how to deal with reed beds, but they have a draft of some stipulations and regulations. And Region 3 is willing to accept that as final. And so we went in, they had the list of regulations. Scott Davis said, oh, no problem. The DEC fell out of their chairs. They thought they were going to get a big fight over it. And we said, no, this all seems reasonable and fine. So it looks like we may be moving forward with that. There will be some an uptick in cost. There'll be a little bit more monitoring. And because we're going to be using a native Phragmites as opposed to an invasive Phragmites, we have to make the system a little bigger. But Dennis and Scott Davies are working on coming up with numbers for that. So hopefully in the next week or two. Terrific.
That's fabulous.
And everybody seemed to feel that, by the end of next year, it was feasible to be up and running.
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, besides saving us money from transporting all the sludge, it
Ton of
also
money.
saves gas, a lot of gasoline for the environment. We don't have to drive up to Albany, I think it is, every week or two.
I was signing those vouchers for Albany too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
A lot of
more than a
things.
money issue, it's an environmental issue, so it's really
And
great.
it's self-sustaining,
Yeah,
Apparently what they have to do is every 10 years or so, they have to go in, there'll be 2 beds, and they'll have to go in and clean one of the beds out. And what they do is they just dig out what's now become almost topsoil, usable topsoil, and get rid of it, sell it. I mean, we could bag it using...
Who would do that, or highway?
Yeah. I volunteered at the town clerk's office.
You're very good at so many things, right?
There we go, it's better to topsoil.
Actually, there's one of these out somewhere in the western part of the state, and one of the guys on the town board is a farmer, and he takes it and uses it on his fields as
Well, you never
soil.
know, to be able to sell it
Yeah.
to, we got a couple of farms around here, you never know, somebody might need it, or just want to take it away for the cost of hauling it.
Right. But what they do is they dig down to a certain level, and they leave the root system in place,
Right.
truck the rest of it out, and the roots come back up.
Do they refill it with any kind of dirt, or just because it gets higher and higher and higher?
It just keeps getting higher and higher and
Okay.
higher, the roots keep going up and up.
Okay.
But the base roots stay down at the bottom there, so, anyway, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many years ago did we start this? At least 2? More than
More
that.
than that.
I want to say
Yeah.
more than that.
That was with Jeff, I
It probably was when Jeff was here.
think. Yeah.
It's probably 5 or 6 years
It's a
ago.
long time
We
ago.
at least started to talk about it.
I remember, had a
And
big
probably
discussion about
we
it.
even started to just briefly mention it back in Jeremy's first go-around. So,
Well, yeah, when my brother was there, they were talking about the reed beds, so it's been a
So
quite a
how long
while.
has he been, when did he retire?
Well, he retired, let's see, 54 and 59, 5 years ago,
Yeah, it's been a while.
So it's been a
So-
while.
but that was during Jeremy's. No, he retired during Jeff's.
Jeff's turn, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway,
Way back.
that's
Okay.
a very positive
Yeah.
discussion. And I do know that the state is also actively looking at trying to help with the parking situation up on the mountain. They don't have a plan they're ready to release yet, but I think
The DEC.
they're looking to help out with that. So they're aware that we have issues and problems up there. And,
I heard the police today, they went up there a few times and there were no parking issues, so apparently whatever signs you guys got going up there, it was a beautiful day, so if
Good.
anybody was gonna hike, it would have been
And
today.
the weekend seemed to be a little better too, I think. Nice big Friday.
There's
They're
October.
parking all the way down to me
If-
So,
with tickets on them.
Nice.
okay.
Yeah.
I think we're ready for the first hearing, Jackie. You wanna?
At a meeting held on October 11th, the town board resolved to schedule a public hearing on the proposed water district budget. All persons may now be heard.
What's Jeremy saying? One at a time?
One at a time, there's no rush. Speak slowly. Because we got 15 minutes in between each one. Is that what you
Oh, 5
or
or
10?
5.
Oh, 5, they see they
Forget
smartened up.
smart. Forget
Yeah,
smart.
yeah, 15.
Learning.
Maybe we knew that would have been.
Yeah,
So the-
learning from the past.
The rates are the same this year. There's been no change. And
I'll say the same thing I said last year. People like water.
people like
Yes.
water, yes. The meter rate's $17 per quarter. The rate per 100 is 41 cents. Anybody on the board have any questions, comments, complaints?
I'll just mention one thing,
Sure.
with the $17 base rate for sewer, it was
Mhm.
new last year for the first time.
Mhm.
We got very, very, very few comments regarding it, so people took it very well, understanding that, rather than the rate per gallons go up, that the base rate went up, and so,
Yeah.
especially for users of a lot of water.
Right.
And this doesn't start until December.
Right.
All right then, whereas the water district costs for the year 2017 are $2,018, $457, and whereas there was a public hearing scheduled for October 18, 2016 at 7:15
Let's do 7, yes, I'm sorry.
7:15
Yeah.
PM at the town offices. Therefore be it resolved to close the public hearing and be it further resolved to raise water district operation and maintenance costs in the following manner. $0 for real property in the water district, $0 for sale of surplus equipment, $154,481 in metered sales, $49,776 per meter charge, $4,000 in interest and penalties, $200 in interest and earnings, $10,000 appropriated fund balance, $17 base fee for each meter for each quarterly reading, and be it further resolved, the user rate shall be 41 cents per 100 gallons, and be it further resolved, the user rate shall be effective beginning December 1st, 2016.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. You ready for the next one? You are, perfect.
At a meeting held on October 11th, the town board resolved to schedule a public hearing on the proposed wastewater disposal district's budget. All persons may now be heard.
Anyone? Anyone? Board? Jay, sir, you have any comments?
No, I don't.
Okay. Whereas engineering, legal, administrative, construction, and interest costs were incurred by the central and eastern wastewater districts, and whereas in 2017, the 2017 debt service for the eastern and central wastewater districts was $5,859, and whereas the properties that have on-site systems pay for the operation and maintenance of their constructed systems, and whereas it is the intent of this resolution that all properties in the eastern and central wastewater districts shall share in the unfunded balance for non-site specific engineering, legal, administrative, and interest charges related to those unfunded non-site specific engineering costs, and whereas the total costs are allocated between three groups of property owners in the eastern and central wastewater districts, all properties, non-constructed system properties, and properties with constructed systems, and whereas the total debt costs per specific property were calculated for each group, and whereas the attached payment schedule shall be updated each year to reflect payments by each group.
Bill, do you want a break?
No,
Or do you want me to read stuff?
I'm good.
Okay.
And whereas the public hearing was held on October 18, 2016 at 7:20 p.m. at the town offices on this plan and assessment roll, therefore be it resolved to close the public hearing, and be it further resolved to appropriate a portion, and assess central and eastern wastewater district $50,726 for the year 2017 in the following manner. $5,881 debt service shall be apportioned as follows. $1,118, 19% to be raised from all properties equally. $1,470, 25% to be raised from all non-constructed properties as per attached benefits unit Schedule C. $3,293, 56% to be raised from properties with constructed systems per the attached Schedule B, and be it further resolved, vacant lots under 1 acre shall be removed from charges, and be it further resolved to raise the remaining balance of $44,845 in the following manner. $100 interest and earnings, $38,119 special O&M assessments on those properties, improved properties from Schedule B, and $6,626 appropriated funds balance.
Yeah.
All in favor?
All right.
I'll say aye, however, what I would like to comment on is, I don't see Schedule C or B attached. It refers to the attached Schedule B and C.
Pam's got those.
You missed them.
What's that?
You missed them.
I missed them?
They should be in there.
Well, it should be in,
Ken's got them, the listing of the properties.
okay.
They come from the assessor's office.
Okay, well, it's just, when we have a resolution that says the attached Schedule B and Schedule C, it would be nice if the attached was attached.
And in the future, if you see that, because we don't always do that,
Yeah.
because usually it's in with Pam.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Okay, motion carries.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
At a meeting held on October 11th, the town board resolved to schedule a public hearing on the proposed Hamlet Sewer District budget. All persons may now be heard.
No Jocelyn.
You gotta have at least one question. Come on. It's probably what I don't know. I guess I should be thankful.
Yeah, not on this, you got off scot-free.
Why, do you have other questions coming up?
No.
I can make this, we can linger on this until you go home.
Shouldn't use the word coming up when you're talking about septic.
You know, I think it reflects on the water sewer department for many, many years, because since I've been town clerk, it's been the joke of the public hearings that nobody has had anything to say about them
Yeah.
at all. I mean, they understand, the taxing, way that they tax the properties for it, and, you know, I guess the guys must be going out when they get phone calls, because otherwise they'd be here complaining and everything else, and they don't. So kudos to those that are taking good care of it, and kudos to Lynn for the billing aspect.
They respond quickly. I've had friends with problems and they call up and boom, they're over there.
Yeah.
So they respond, they go fix things. I mean, we have great employees and that department's one indication of the kind of employees we have.
And sorry, just to add for here, the user rate is unchanged. The benefit assessment rate is down from last year, it was $16.85, down to $15.83.
83.
So,
And how come it went down?
the benefit assessments, the number went up. So it's spread out over more benefit
Okay.
assessments.
More people are using that as
All right then. Whereas for the year 2017, the Hamlet Sewer District has capital costs totaling $172,746, and operation, maintenance, and reserve costs totaling $277,216. And whereas these costs total $449,462. And whereas the public hearing was held on October 18, 2016 at 7:25 p.m. at the town offices, therefore be it resolved to close the public hearing and be it further resolved to finance the above costs of the Hamlet Sewer District in the following manner: $0 from sale of surplus equipment, $400 from interest on revenue, $4,500 from interest and penalties, $229,862 from metered sales, $29,300 per meter charge, $172,746 from benefit assessment, $3,250 for service to other governments, $10,000 appropriated fund balance, $17 base fee for each meter for each quarterly reading, and be it further resolved that the benefit assessment be no more than $15.83 per benefit unit, and be it further resolved that the user rate shall be $1.02 per 100 gallons, and be it further resolved the user rate shall be effective beginning December 1st, 2016.
Second.
All in favor?
Question,
Before the vote?
pardon?
Before the vote?
It doesn't matter. On the previous page, there are two sentences that are asterisked, and I don't know what they may be referring.
You know, as I read that, I saw that, I don't know that, I think that was just.
There was nothing following up on it, and I presume maybe it's just a goof or whatever.
You know, this may have been cut and pasted from a previous budget last year, and maybe there was something. I'm not aware of any reason. It's for the metered sales and the meter charge.
Yeah.
So, nothing that I'm aware of, Jeff.
Give a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that puts to bed those issues. We'll do some resolutions. Be it resolved to accept the minutes for meetings held on September 20th, October 5th, October 11th, and October 13th.
Second.
All in favor?
I did have one comment for Jenny. As I read the minutes on October 5th, I did just want to mention the last bullet and the topics. On page 2, there's a topic section, had a bunch of bullets, and it talked about Supervisor Wilbur got the Ulster County response on the zoning, and that McKenna and Nagarelli said proceed anyway. I believe I also said proceed anyway, so I just like to have my name added.
Okay.
To those people that said.
And you noted that on the.
I noted that on the hard copy, I'm just not sure that the hard copy goes.
I don't get it back, so.
Yeah, yes, just note that I also approved that,
Okay.
right, that we go forward with the local law, zoning law.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Be it resolved to accept the town clerk's report.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to authorize transfers per transfer sheet.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Be it resolved to authorize payment of audited vouchers in the amount of $556,000.
590.
What did I say? $596, 69 and 57 cents. Nice
Second.
scratch. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to, did that.
So we already, yeah, that was in the other things,
Yes.
right?
All right, so be it resolved to adopt, let's talk about the preliminary budget for a minute. I think when you went in to sign vouchers, you were each given 3 pages.
Yes,
So-
extra
So there were 3, they're not extras, they're replacements.
replacements, exactly.
Okay, so there were 2 changes that we made. The hours in the building department were reduced. They were not calculated. So that was reduced by about $3,000. And the phone, there was a phone charge there for $240 that should have been doubled for
Right,
a.
and they mentioned that.
Yes. So those changes were all made. There was a savings there. After Jeremy had put together his budget, he had started, and I think he mentioned this a while back, about the possibility of getting some cyber attack insurance, which he's looking into. Okay, so if you look at page 11, you'll see that the unallocated
Yeah.
insurance fund went up by the difference. So the changes we made, there were no changes to the bottom line on the budget. The building department, they went down a little bit, and the insurance went up a little bit.
Where does the tax come from, brother?
They may. You never know, Jay. They could come from Sorkies. So with that, be it resolved to adopt the preliminary 2017 budget, and be it further resolved to schedule a public hearing on the preliminary 2017 budget for Thursday, November 10th at 7 p.m. at the town hall, and be it further resolved to authorize the town clerk to post in the town's official newspaper a notice of such hearing.
We're going down to the town hall.
Yes,
That's what it said?
yeah. We did it last year too.
Yeah. We expect Jocelyn.
Yes.
The
I'll
Thursday,
Needs to be filled.
yeah. So, Lori,
second
second.
that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ZBA usually meets, ZBA or planning board on that Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'll be
So,
ZBA.
so,
Yeah, plan is first, third, and fifth. Town.
okay.
Yes, I'm not down there, somebody remind me, call me.
Well, when you come
where
here,
everybody is.
when you come here, you'll notice that they're not the
The
same
faces don't look the same.
Yeah, they'll be sitting right here though, but, right.
Be pretty bad if you sat for about 15 minutes before you noticed.
Those days they are approaching.
Okay, so the last 2 things, topic of discussion. I think you each got a copy of 2 proposed laws. One is zoning packet. So there was comment back from the Ulster County Planning Board. They were suggesting that we wait until the comp plan was all done, which could be quite a while before we got to that. And I think we all agreed that we would move forward with that, with these proposed changes, minus the overlay district, which Jay is still working on, correct? So does anybody have any comments, or are we ready to schedule a public hearing?
Well, I did read through every word of what I saw in front of me for the ethics, because,
No, we're on the,
on the other one, okay, we're gonna discuss the ethics in a moment? Fine.
yeah, we'll go there next.
Okay, no, I have no comments on the proposed zoning. I have no comments.
All right, Kathy, you good?
No,
Jay?
I went through the whole thing today too, and just again and again, so no, it was pretty much.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so be it resolved to schedule a public hearing on the zoning amendment packet for Tuesday, November 15th at 7:15 p.m. at the town offices, and be it further resolved to authorize the town clerk to post in the town's official newspaper a notice of such hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay, so that's out of the way. So, in the next day or two, I will get Kerry to produce clean copies. We should hold on to these so that during the meeting, we can look at, the clean copy is gonna be as the law's going
I
in.
think that's what she gave me today. Carrie gave me a copy today, which looks pretty clean.
Maybe she eliminated that, there's no, well, that's what you'll be getting then.
I mean, I have corrections on the copy I got,
Yeah,
and cross-outs and
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah, I do have a couple of cross-outs,
Okay.
but it's not colorful like yours is, though.
yeah, she probably didn't produce it in color, we can trade.
Oh, no, well, no, I mean, it's missing all that stuff, so I mean, this is definitely cleaned up more than that.
Okay.
So I don't need to see all that.
Okay. So we're good to go on that for public hearing?
Yes.
The next is the ethics one.
Okay.
So we did have some recommendations back from the ethics board. I think the big one was, they wanted us to keep the $75. I think, I know several of us agreed that we were okay with going down to the 20, which Jay has been championing.
I think all of us don't accept anything, so it doesn't matter. It could be $2 or it could be $20.
Yeah, well, on the one hand, none of us would on purpose accept anything, but the reason why I would be fine with $75 is I don't think anybody is out. Even in a year, $75 is not a big swinger, first off. And secondly, if inadvertently you had something you didn't realize it was a gift, you wouldn't, it just would solve things, I think. I'd be fine with $75. I don't think it needs to be 20. I don't think anybody in the, even $75 is going to sway somebody's decision. I would hope not, even if, so I mean, I think that would just have fewer complications if it was a number like 75, but, 20 to 75, whatever the consensus thinks is
I
fine.
know Jay,
I have a number of comments to make on
Yeah.
this. On on page 2, at letter C.
gifts?
It says, "No town officer or employee shall directly or indirectly solicit any gift nor accept or receive a gift." And then I've crossed out, or multiple gifts, or receive a gift having an aggregate yearly value of $20 or more, period. Then the
So you want to put in
1, 2,
yearly and cross out that whole parenthesis?
yeah. Then the number 1, 2, and 3 below.
So Jay, if I could just for 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take notes on this. What I would suggest is that we talk about what your changes are. Let's agree, we can agree. But then if you could send us a hard copy by email, so we get the wording right.
And I agree with what Jay said too, because I in my copy had crossed out that same thing. I thought the parentheses was redundant because in the definition of gifts, it says aggregate. It says the aggregate in the year, so it doesn't matter if it comes from the same donor or a different donor, it doesn't matter, because what matters is an aggregate. So I agree with Jay that parentheses was not necessary.
Yeah.
But adding the word yearly somewhere else in the sentence makes sense, so I agree.
So you have a rewording for that. It's basically, it's still going to call for the $20.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it should read the aggregate yearly value of $20 or more, period.
Okay.
And then 1, 2, and 3, I suggest we remove
I'm sorry, where are you, 1, 2, and 3, this,
below C.
well, but I think that defines what makes it a gift. So you're taking away definitions if you get rid of 1, 2, and 3, I
Yeah,
understand.
I agree.
I agree also. I think we kind of need that to clarify it a little, so it's really clear to everybody what you're talking about.
I think that it does the opposite of clarify. I think it convolutes and makes it more complex. I think this should be kept as simple as possible. And at the end of C, I would reiterate, the total of gifts received shall be reported on the annual disclosure form. That's something new that wasn't here before.
Oh, I didn't see, so that's a sentence you would like to add?
Yes.
I don't want to add that. Somebody buys me a $2 cup of tea, I don't want to have to remember at the end of the year
Right.
that
I had $2.
I got a $2 cup of tea.
what if it was $20 cup of tea?
Well, then I would remember it.
Well, then you would.
That would be one heck of a cup of tea.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then you wouldn't accept it. You know,
Yeah,
then
exactly,
you
I
would accept
wouldn't be accepting it.
Well, you wouldn't be, first off, I doubt you'd even accept a $2 cup of tea if you were accepting it under 1, 2, or 3.
Right. If you realize you were doing 1, 2, or 3, you wouldn't take it.
I'm beginning to convince me to do
And I'm all in
something
favor
for
of
$2.
I'm all in favor of less red tape. So I'm with Kathy on,
These are my suggestions.
Mhm.
okay.
Okay.
And then below that, we have another, it says number 3, and then below that, 1, 2, 3 in parentheses. And at the very end, where it says number 3, engage in political solicitation in, add the word town workplace rather than in the workplace. I think it needs to be more specific.
Right, okay. In the town office work, in the town of Woodstock workplace?
In the town workplace, I think covers it.
Okay, all right.
And then on page 4, at the bottom, where it says section 71-8B3 in parentheses, I would keep that first sentence. Ethics board members may make contributions to any political campaign, period, and then scratch all the rest of it. Delete all the rest of it.
But they're saying they can't otherwise participate.
So you're
They
saying
campaign.
that they can campaign?
No, I think it needs to stay the way it is. I mean, I don't think that the ethics board should be writing letters to publications, making broadcasts, distributing materials, carrying petitions, or making
I
audience speeches.
am opposed to restrictions of any sort on the freedom of people to express their interests and desires and so forth, any legal way that they choose to.
Well, judges,
Whether it's police or soldiers or the town clerk or our wonderful citizens of Woodstock, it doesn't matter to me. Everybody should have no restrictions on their political activity. Otherwise, it could be seen by somebody as the election is rigged.
well, okay, I'd like to speak on that. The judges, as I understand it, have a similar restriction. So ethics board people are passing, our ethics board members are passing judgment on people, cases, employees, whatever. They're passing judgment. And this is the same thing that I think the judges are told, judges are not to be partisan. Judges are not to be politically partisan. They are supposed to avoid, except for the year when they're campaigning and there's a
The
period of time.
judges are ruled by the state, not by us.
I think if an ethics board member were out campaigning for one political candidate and then all of a sudden they'd have findings against another political candidate, it's messy. I would vote to keep
There
it
is
as.
no good reason in my mind for a repressive and negative value like that.
Okay, well, maybe Kathy and Bill want to weigh in.
And
I
then
have to agree.
just
Yeah.
following that up,
I see both points of it, and, you know, the one thing I would say is that the ethics board members do sign on knowing that this is a restriction. You know, I do agree with Jay, I hate to see people's freedom of speech trampled on.
and then continuing on top of page 5.
So you and I are gonna have to think
I
about
have
it.
to look at it. Yeah, because I have an issue with the other spot that passed, so we'll go back to that.
The gifts,
Yeah,
oh yeah.
the family thing is a little crazy to me. But I want you to finish and then we'll
Well,
go
let
back.
Jay finish.
At the top of page 5, there's a letter D, which I would scratch, delete, and then...
The whole item, you mean?
What?
You would attack, well, you would delete that because you're going to delete everything above it. You're going to delete letters A, B, and C, so you would delete D as well.
Yeah,
So A, B, C, and D go together, just D happens to fall next to it.
I would delete the thing about allowing one's name to be used, which is, just, according to this, a no-no. And then, following that up in section 71(8)(b)(4), I would delete all of that paragraph.
8B or D?
Yeah,
On
it
the
was
top of page 5, Kathy.
71.8B is in Baker.
Oh, okay.
And I would, but because I'm in favor of keeping items A through D right above it, I would keep that because that says the ethics board, since they're passing judgment on people within the town of Woodstock, I do agree with what it says here that they can't be getting involved politically, but this item 71.8B says, but they can get involved politically beyond the town of Woodstock, and I agree with that they should be able to get involved beyond the town of Woodstock.
Well,
But if they're passing judgment on people within the town of Woodstock, again, you would agree with me.
I have a different view.
Right.
So that's my input on this.
All right, I had a spot. The whole thing about the gifts with family members,
Page, Kathy.
page 3G. I mean, gifts from family members of the same household, personal, people you have a personal relationship.
Are excluded, are excluded from the definition of gift, so these are exemptions.
But then it talks about the determining motivation, the following factors shall be among those considered. So they're trying to, it seems like they don't want you to, that they can like scrutinize your family as to the motivation they had in giving you a gift.
But what they're saying, I think, the way I read this is they're saying that gifts from a family member of the same household, or person with a personal relationship. And I think the fuzzy part is the personal relationship. And there I think they're trying to say, if you think that somebody gave a gift, but it was really somebody that has been your boyfriend for the last 8 years, well, then take into account, factor in the history and nature of the relationship. For family, I would be to say it's pretty straightforward. If this person's a member of your family, you don't even have to determine any motivation because they're your family. But if it's somebody where there's a gray area, is it, what's the personal relationship? Is your boyfriend for 8 years?
Right.
Or is it somebody who's really trying to pretend to be something and just came on the scene and now they're giving you gifts? So I didn't have an issue with this because I think they're just trying to clarify that if there's any confusion about whether somebody has a personal relationship, you can read these other things and judge whether, they may give you some guidance of whether or not. Yeah. So I didn't see there being any issue with the family member, but I thought it might help give guidance to how to tell if somebody with a personal relationship really is a genuine personal relationship.
I think it's a good guideline, because it does make clear when gifts are acceptable.
Okay.
And when it's really from a family member or a person.
Yeah, I mean, it just,
I agree with Laura. I mean, if the gift was from Sam, that.
Everybody knows.
Okay, that's fine. If the gift was from Joe Blow, but you say, oh, but Joe Blow and I have been friends for 30 years, and, he was at our wedding, and, he gives me a birthday present every year, then, and that's when the 1, 2, and 3 would come into effect.
yeah, I mean, I just thought it got a little bit too much with, did they give somebody else a gift? Is it similar to you? It was like, did they give another official a gift?
But I think that what that's
All
saying is if somebody that none of us knows is giving a gift to everybody, and I was confused
I
by.
would be very suspect.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right.
So, okay, so I had a couple of notes as well.
Kathy, you still going? You still have more?
No,
Okay.
I had basically that.
Okay, so I did have a couple of typos, if anybody cares.
Yeah, there's an and for
Well, there was I'm on the top of page 2, item A, there's the word unwarranted is,
You know what, don't worry about the typos for now. We'll go through that, and
Okay.
we'll send out
yeah, okay.
a clean copy.
All right. So, of Jay's comments, again, I did agree with on page 2, item 2C, getting rid of the parentheses, I did agree with that. And I do agree that, as Jay wanted to, add the word yearly in there, a yearly aggregate value. But I did like the fact that they define gift later on down the page.
So let me ask you, where are you on wanting to eliminate 1, 2, and 3 from C?
No, I'm saying keep it.
Keep it. Kathy,
I'm saying keep it.
you're saying keep it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying keep it. All right, Jay. 3.
Okay.
But we all agree to the reword.
With the yearly and the parentheses.
To get rid of what's in the parentheses, I think it's redundant. I think it's redundant to have the parentheses, so I agree with Jay's idea to get rid of that. And-
So
and
Jay,
add the word-
if you could put that in an email and just send it to all of us, we'll get that reworded.
Okay.
Okay?
So,
And just since we're going through, we all agree to add the town workplace?
yeah, in the
Okay.
town workplace, yes. 133. Yes.
Who has this document?
You have it, Jay.
Electronically, he's got it,
Yeah, I
right?
sent it to you, from Jeremy's yesterday.
Okay, I'll check it out.
You know what, let me send it again, because, never mind, yeah, I'll send it again.
Thank you.
Okay. Page 3?
Okay, well, so the only other things that I had is, for consistency, and I'm on page 5 now, I did have a couple more typos, but you said you're gonna find them.
Just,
You're gonna find those somewhere.
or just send them. We don't need to talk, you know,
Okay, that's fine.
they don't change the meaning.
Okay, all right, so send typos. Okay, I can do that. Okay, so then on page 5, everywhere where they say in writing, in item D, in 71-8C3, it talks about the ethics board shall notify the officer or employee of the town in writing. I think it would be good to clarify, in writing, you have to go find the document in your mail folder, that maybe you check that every 3 weeks. You know, maybe you should check it more, but do we? Are they going to send it by U.S. mail? So the in writing, are they going to send it via email? My preference would be to say it's going to be in writing via U.S. mail, because that stuff doesn't get lost. You get emails, they sometimes, where did they go? So anytime where it says somebody's going to be notified in writing, I'm thinking if they're going to notify the officer or the employee of the town in writing, I'd like to add the words via U.S. mail, so we know that. And that would be in section 71-8C3. Also, 71-8C6, items A and B both talk about in writing. And then I'm on the top of page 6, item C talks about in writing. And besides that, so there's 4 places where I think it would be nice to clarify via U.S. mail. But then the other thing is...
So we could do that easily enough by just adding a sentence up at the top that says all writing will be via U.S. Postal.
Yeah, all notifications to the employee or town officer will be by U.S. mail.
Instead of, okay.
Correct, I agree, it doesn't have to be on every, correct. I'm fine to put it.
So you just email us good wording that you would be happy with in that section, one sentence.
Okay, in email, okay, and page, item C of the U.S. mail, okay. Mail, save once, okay. Okay, and then the other comment I had was, I'm at the top of page 6 now, item C at the very top of the 6th. If such response is not deemed satisfactory, the ethics board shall notify the officer or employee of the town and the complainant, if any, in writing, that the ethics board has scheduled the hearing. I think that they should also explain why the response was unsatisfactory. What this is saying is they're only going to notify the employee if what the employee gave them was unsatisfactory. I think that they ought to explain why the response was unsatisfactory in addition to notifying that they're scheduling a hearing. So I'm just going back to page B.
Okay.
So I just think they explain why, because in section B, the officer or employee of the town has an opportunity to submit in writing. Well, and here's a case where, and now I'm back on page 5B at the very bottom, if the officer and the employee submits in writing a response, where are they supposed to send it? It's not clear to me. Do they send it to...
It should be sent to your home, I think, because you may not...
No, but they're responding. The employee is responding back to the ethics board, where they're supposed to respond in writing.
It should be to here,
To the
not to
person.
a particular person,
Sounds like
because they
all
can change
mail
it.
But when they first send it to an employee, should they send it to their home?
Oh, they should
Oh,
send it
right.
home. They should send it home.
But if
then
the
respond to
employee's responding, they should respond if you want them to do it by mail, or,
Yeah, well, I think it says in writing, so it should clarify how, where do you send it?
Here.
If the employee, but it should say where here is.
right, I agree.
Where is here?
45 Como Drive, to the ethics board, 45 Como Drive, they have their own mailbox.
40.
And we usually notify them if they get mail.
What?
That would be good.
Okay, so,
Phone call in the car.
yeah, so when the employee is notified in writing, it'll be to their home. When they're notifying the ethics board in writing, it'll be to ethics board 45 Como Drive, so I'll put that in there too. And then when they respond to the ethics board, and then that's item C on the top of 6, then when the ethics board is saying, oh, not satisfactory, in addition to scheduling a hearing and notifying the employee they're going to schedule a hearing, they should also notify the employee why the response was unsatisfactory. So I think that they should say why it was unsatisfactory.
So, send language for both those,
Yeah, okay,
and send it to everybody.
yes.
Bill,
Yes,
all the emails we're going to be doing on all of this to each other should also be copied to Allison, the ethics board.
yes.
Oh, do we, I don't know if we know what email address.
You
Or the
can
chair.
call me tomorrow and I'll email it over to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jen. That's
Or if you
a
want,
good
I can phone it for you right now.
Wait. Ooh, cool. Okay, so that was it. So I'll send you the typos. We talked about the US mail thing and then my other comments in that one. So-
Okay, so there was one other item that was left out of this. Generally came across a while back. And that is the General Municipal Law, Section 808, which regulates ethics boards. Just gonna listen to this.
Yeah, I think that's right.
You know, when I was driving here, the police were zooming up 212, several cars.
Oh,
What's that?
The police were zooming up 212 when I was driving here. 2 police cars,
Yeah.
sirens were on, so something must have happened.
The state law requires that when you have an ethics board, that one of the members of the ethics board be an elected official,
no?
an appointed official, or an employee. And we do not have that on our board, and we do not have that in our law.
When you say appointed official, I mean, the whole board is appointed.
Yeah, they're talking about like a planning board member or zoning board member.
So it needs to be one of those categories. Elected,
Yes.
appointed, but then, and then they also have the.
Or an employee of any sort? One of those three things,
Yes,
not
one of
all
those.
three.
Elected
not
official
all.
plan.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
And then we also have to worry about having the right mix of Democrat, Republican, and.
That's already in there, that's all okay.
Right.
But what we need to do is add this one section. So I'll work on pulling out the language for that, and what section would be amended.
Okay, and then we have to appoint somebody.
And we have to get rid of something if possible.
Yeah.
Or we could make it a 7-member board.
Well, can
And
we,
rather than knocking somebody off, we can add and then.
we'd have to add 2, right? We're trying to make it an item. Well, can we do it as somebody rolls off anyway? Because if I'm in board and don't 2 of them roll off at a time?
I forget, there's terms of staggered, but
Because we have to yank somebody, or can't we just do it naturally?
you know, if they're not ready to go. I mean, if somebody was ready to step down, I'll ask Allison when this comes up. It may not be an issue.
Oh.
But they seem to be a very well-functioning board,
Mhm.
so I'd hate to
Yeah, you hate
to
to,
yank.
well, you'd hate to pick the person to come out if they didn't want to come.
Right. Now, the other thing is, I mean, maybe, or it's getting time to start advertising for vacancies. You know, maybe we have a vacancy on another board that somebody would be more than happy to move to, and then it doesn't become an issue. So there's a couple of possibilities on how to handle it. And again, one of them is to go to a 7-member board, which is allowed. I don't know that we can have the option to say 5 or 7 in our law. So if we go to 7, then we might be stuck with 7.
We have to put, yeah. Well, and the other thing too is I know we discussed the 5 versus 7 number on, while I was on the planning board. And in that case, there are so many laws the planning board needs to know, and there's so much, and you go out on the field site, site visits, and you need to have 2 people doing each thing, and there's so much that it made sense to have 7, because every now and then somebody, isn't there for a while for whatever reason, and it made sense there to be 7. I'm not sure if there's a reason to make the ethics board.
No, I
7.
don't, other than
Are they
to,
operating fine with 5? But I don't know if there's a reason. to make it
they are. So the only reason would be is if we weren't yanking somebody off.
Bill, could we say the membership could be between 5 and up to 7?
I'm going to look into that, Jay. I'm not sure if we're allowed to do that.
Because
That
what would be,
ideal.
what would be a quorum, that's what ends up happening. Do you have enough with 3 people With a 7-member board, you don't.
Yes.
But with a 5-member board, you do.
Right.
So, okay, this time they were allowed to have 3, well, maybe next month they'll have a 6-member, and then you have 3 and 3, how does that work? So,
We'd have to keep the quorum the same all the time, we have to decide before, is it
Right.
5 or 7?
right,
Right.
right.
Yeah, in my sense is if we kind of stick with 5 and see if anybody wants to come down, but then as opposed to yanking somebody, probably somebody's going to rotate off anyway in December because it is staggered.
There will be somebody due.
Right, and just that one leave, the person just can't re-up right away because we need to
Right.
fill it with somebody.
Right.
So I wouldn't want to yank somebody now if they want to come off, I'd rather do it in January, which is right around the corner.
This won't take effect until the new year.
Yeah.
So if we all come back in November and agree to these changes at our November meeting, we can set a public hearing for December.
Yeah.
So the laws, we're looking at the new year.
So are we adding a statement there about, because I don't think the law, well, the piece we're looking at, which is only changes, hasn't really noted this. So is this thing you just mentioned to us about 1 member needs to be, blah, 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 as these
No,
categories?
I said I'm gonna work on the wording where that needs to be asserted, and I'll email it.
So in a future iteration, we'll get a copy of this document with that included as well as these other changes were.
Well, yes, yeah. Ultimately, we'll get a clean copy with none of the cross outs.
Yes, okay.
Before I forget, what would you guys like us to do with these envelopes and letters?
Well, consider them.
It's a proposal.
Well, it says right there, if you're up for the proposal, then the next step would be for Jeremy or to Bill to put together a meeting at everyone's convenience so that we can figure out how to go about implementing a basic plan and a structure to be able to include us in getting out information when it's needed.
Fine.
Do we already have a setup for that with the police or where we disseminate information?
We do it through Facebook, through the website, and on occasion, the supervisor will, during a few of the big events, he would sit at the phone and the deal was, at 20 past the hour, the radio station would call him in,
Okay.
or he'd call in and give an update about what was going on.
That was the agreement with WDST.
Yeah.
The difference here is we're available anytime that anything should happen, so immediacy is also part of it.
Well, so I guess as I'm reading your letter, so you suggest a meeting be held including the town supervisor, town board members, chief of police, fire chiefs, highway department supervisor, and other emergency responders to create protocols. But I think what you're saying, what Bill's saying, I think is there already kind of is a protocol, right? I mean, because I think your letter assumes there's not already a protocol, but.
I think they want to be added to it.
No, and there's a protocol, but not for them.
Right, they want to be added to it.
Right, but that's my question, is you suggest a meeting be held to create a protocol, but I guess I thought we already had a protocol.
Or update it so that they're included.
Yeah,
And actually, this may take a little new thought because again, as Randy pointed out, with DST, it was, on 20 past the hour, Jeremy would call up. Whereas, it's a not-for-profit, it's not a commercial venture, so there's more flexibility in programming. And, to the point where we could just call and say, we got an emergency, the road's closed.
And they would also need to know who to take information from. That got
That's
bad.
right,
like,
that's
yeah,
right.
So
Well,
that
that's right.
people just can't call you and say, let them know that Sawkill Road is flooded and you can't go through, and it really isn't, and you're
Right.
taking information from the local people.
Now, of course,
well, if we were to get a call like that, we would, as part of the protocol, would want to know who we contact in the town to either verify it
Right, it
or
would need to be
disclaim it
verified
as
because they got bad.
and that's the protocol.
Yeah.
Now, as a private venture, I mean, there's no law that says you can't get a call from Joe Blow and you say, we just got a report from a member of the public that it's unverified by the town, but that, John Joy Road is closed, so be
That's
aware.
what we've been doing to this point.
But then, we can set it up so that you know who to call
Right.
and get that information, and then you can go back on and say, yes, this has been verified. So it's usually the supervisor is the point person.
And the deputy supervisor is the point person if you can't reach the supervisor. But because I thought, to make a long story short, the protocol really was, if somebody's going to call WDST, it was the supervisor, and if the supervisor can't for some reason, it's the deputy supervisor. So it would seem to me, as opposed to trying to meet for the chief of police and fire chiefs, they weren't all calling WDST anyway. It was the supervisor. My understanding is it was the supervisor, and so really I would think that you would just want to, when the supervisor calls WDST, I would think that, to make a long story short, the request that they would just contact you as well, and it's just 2 places to contact instead of 1, because I wouldn't think you'd be getting the chief of police or the fire chiefs calling you, because I don't think they ever called WDST either. It was the supervisor, that they would funnel information to the supervisor, and then the supervisor would contact.
But in state of emergencies, what happens is the police chief, the fire chief, the supervisor, and the highway superintendent all get together. So we're, at some point, they're typically all in a room, and there's decisions made. And at that point, someone may then be delegated as a point person. And that's something we can work out too.
There could also be a situation where, for some sort of unforeseen security reasons, the powers that be, the police or whoever, may request that we not broadcast information for whatever reason, in which case we need to know that.
Who could give that call?
Right.
Right, well, this is what would be determined by
Right.
that meeting. So
Right.
we-
Yeah, maybe identity verification too, which may mean a code word or a number or something like that.
Cracker Jack.
But also to be able to,
Oh, damn, I gave it away.
That was a good one.
also just to be able to, so that everybody knows each other's numbers, so that everybody knows our numbers, we know who to contact. And also we're a little more flexible than DST, say for example, where there was the repaving of 375 the other night, so that might have to do something to do with highways or something, that's a state.
Yeah, and if
But nevertheless, to be able to announce that, to say that there's a weaving pattern, by the way, they did an excellent job on
375 is
Did
good.
a
375.
did a beautiful job.
Still needs stripes, but other than that, it's looking.
Oh, could I make a suggestion on that? Where was it, is it on 28?
28
That
has
they've
rumble.
been putting in rumble strips in the middle where the double yellow line is. And on any sort of wavy mountain road around here, a lot of times you get cars, especially if they don't see an oncoming car around the curve, they'll drift into the wrong lane. I think it would be advantageous to have the rumble grind come along.
There was a big push to do the rumble strips. I'll ask Tom Story and see if they're thinking about doing that there.
Good.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, if you're willing and interested in non-emergency situations where, there may be a road closing, stuff like that, and that might not necessarily come from the supervisor, but it could come from the highway superintendent.
That's right.
So that's where it may be beneficial for everybody to sit down and.
Or anything else, you could have some sort of a medical emergency or an evacuation. You never can quite tell what's going to come up. So the idea is to have as broad as possible set of circumstances covered so that we kind of know what to do when we get word of that and how to check it out so that we can put out the best information for the public to have.
I also know that the fire district is separate from the town board. We don't oversee them, and we don't oversee the chief, and he may have some use for it. And I know they've also just come up with a communication policy, and I believe they're looking for somebody from within the department to be a spokesman, where you would have the chief, but then you'd have somebody else.
Public relations.
Yeah.
Well, so all of this we could put together, so when there is something to be known, then the idea is we're there for it. It's in our mission statement to provide this sort of information.
Excellent.
Good.
Any more comments?
We're good.
Okay. I just want to say, Jay yelled at me the other day, and he was right. I cut him off last week.
Pardon?
Remember you yelled at me the other day for cutting me off?
Yes.
So, and I apologized, and
Did you accept it?
No.
He didn't. And I told him I would work on not cutting him off if he worked on giving shorter speeches, and he
I
didn't.
don't make speeches.
You didn't say that the other day, Jay. And
But, you know, I've moved on.
we'll all just work better at having dialogue as opposed to
Yes.
speeches. And I think tonight was a great example. We did that.
Absolutely.
So, thank you. Move to adjourn. Oh, no. Move to go into executive session to discuss personnel issue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, folks.
We know when we're not on.
Yes.
What's that?
Yes, shut down.
Shut down, shut down.
Almost forgot.
How could you? You said you almost
We're not-
forgot to go into executive session.